They have found 10 bodies so far.
It's May of 2007. 3 bodies have already been found over the course of just 2 years.
This morning, there are fears that a possible serial killer is on the loose and will strike again.
And detectives are now investigating the possibility that as many as 3 serial killers may have dumped their victims in the same area.
No arrests have been made or suspects named.
I think they were taken from a car, marched some distance away, executed, and put in the water.
Police still have not named a suspect.
What is up, guys? Ghastly Features here. This is by far the most in-depth video I've done, and I hope you enjoy. This is 5 serial killers who have not been caught. The FBI estimates that there are between 25 and 50 serial killers operating throughout the US at any given time. If there are 50, then each one is responsible for an average of 3 murders per year. Let's get started.
Years and nothing but frustration for families of 8 people who fell victim to an apparent serial killer along the Colonial Parkway.
The Colonial Parkway, a beautiful stretch of highway which cuts through the Colonial National Historical Park in Southeast Virginia. On October 12, 1986, a pedestrian reported seeing a car down one of the Colonial Parkway's embankments, where police would later find the gruesome scene of 2 murdered women, Kathy Thomas and Rebecca Dowski, who had last been seen 3 days prior. For a time, this seemed to be a one-off crime, until September 22, 1987, when the bodies of young couple David Knobling and Robin Edwards were found near the same parkway.
On a first date, Cassandra Haley and Keith Call went to a party here at University Square Apartments, next to CNU, where both attended school. Cassandra and Keith never found. Keith's parents would later die brokenhearted.
I think they were taken from a car, marched some distance away, executed, and put in the water.
Another year and a half after Cassandra and Keith went missing, Memorial Day weekend 1989, Daniel Lauer and Anna Marie Phelps went missing. Their bodies would later be found by hunters on a remote Virginia logging road.
4 couples, 8 murders, 2 not found.
Throughout the 30-plus year span of this case, there have been many theories as to who the killer could have been. Whether or not he was posing as law enforcement or had actually been law enforcement, due to the fact that almost all the vehicles had been found with the driver's side window halfway rolled down as if they had been pulled over or stopped. Over the years, police have questioned 150 suspects in connection to these 4 cases, but all have been cleared. This case remains cold, so this killer, if still alive, is surely still out there somewhere, potentially driving down the same Colonial Parkway all these years later. The FBI had this to say.
We are fully engaged in the investigation and actively coordinating with the state police to bring closure to all the Colonial Parkway cases.
He's already killed 4 women.
This particular offender will not be a monster in appearance.
But can police find the Daytona Beach serial killer before he kills again?
Daytona Beach, Florida, perhaps best known for its NASCAR racing and sandy beaches, is also the killing grounds for the Daytona Beach killer. The killer was known for picking up sex workers or women with a history of drug use and taking them somewhere secluded, then shooting them. His crimes would span from 2004 to 2008.
Serial killer in Daytona Beach is getting personal.
The first victim, Laquita Gunther, was killed in December of 2004. The next killing just over a year later, Julie Green, was found dead in January of 2006. 1 month later, Iwana Patton was killed. Police believe the last victim was Stacy Gage, found dead in January of 2008.
The Orlando Sentinel reported that according to the FBI, the 4 killings are among 28 in Florida that are unsolved and connected to serial killings that the Bureau suspects were committed by long-haul truckers. Those include 19 deaths along the Interstate 4 corridor between Tampa and Daytona Beach. This being noted, some believe the killer could be responsible for some of these other deaths, as just like some other killers, the Daytona Beach killer vanished as mysteriously as he appeared. Although there was DNA left at 2 of the crime scenes, the Daytona Beach police have not found any serious suspects to date.
8 unsolved deaths. 8 women from Jeff Davis Parish left dead and dumped. All were part of a dangerous culture of drugs and sex.
From 2005 to 2009, the bodies of 8 women were found dumped throughout the swamps of Jefferson Davis Parish, Louisiana. Many of the women knew each other, and all were criminal informants.
A fisherman made the first gruesome discovery May 20th, 2005, in a canal off Highway 1126. The victim is 28-year-old Loretta Chesson Lewis, last seen alive 3 days earlier. Less than a month later, victim 2. The partially nude body of Ernestine Daniels Patterson is found in a canal off Highway 102, June 18th, 2005, 2 days after she disappeared. Authorities say her throat was cut. A year and 9 months later, the nude body of victim 3, Kristen Gary Lopez, is discovered by a fisherman in a canal off Highway 99. Again, the body is too decomposed to determine a cause of death. Victim 4 is Whitney Dubois, found nearly 2 months later, May 12, 2007. Her nude body is found dumped on a rural road. The body is too decomposed to determine the cause of death. Soon after Whitney's death, Frankie Richard and his niece are arrested. Frankie was named as a person of interest because he had contact with 3 of the women before their deaths. Both Richard and his niece go free after a witness recants her story. On May 29, 2008, a police officer finds 23-year-old Laconia Muggy Brown. Her throat had been cut. Then on September 11, 2008, hunters find the body of victim 6 in a dry irrigation canal. Crystal Shea Benoit-Zeno had been asphyxiated. 2 months later, victim 7, 17-year-old Brittany Gary, is last seen on surveillance video at his store. Brittany's body is found in a field off Highway 1126. It's a homicide with the cause of death ruled asphyxia and mixed drug intoxication. Finally, August 19, 2009, off Interstate 10 in Acadia Parish, the body of victim 8, Nicole Guillory, is found just 2 weeks before her 27th birthday. It's ruled a homicide caused by asphyxiation.
The investigation into these deaths never identified a serious suspect, other than Frankie Richard. This, and the fact that all victims were criminal informants, led some to believe a police officer or several police officers could be responsible for this, meaning the perpetrators could be investigating their own crimes.
Starting in February, investigators unearthed the remains of 11 women, including one who was pregnant. Police are looking at several suspects, but so far, no one has been arrested.
It's 2009 in the West Mesa, just south of Albuquerque, New Mexico. An area preparing for residential development was hiding a disturbing secret.
In 2009, a woman walking her dog on the West Mesa near 118th Street discovered a large bone in the dirt, leading police to excavate the area. One by one, authorities uncovered the bodies, including one of a pregnant woman.
The police would end up finding the remains of 11 women between the age of 15 and 32. Most of the women were involved in sex trafficking. Perhaps one of the most eerie facts of this case is that the following satellite images seem to show evidence of the killer's activities in the desert. This first image is the exact area of the West Mesa where the remains would be found prior to the women going missing. On May 11, 2003, one of the first victims would go missing. This next satellite image was taken January 1, 2004. In this image, that is unfortunately not very high quality, you can see a fresh set of tire tracks just above the red line. Keep in mind, this was just the middle of the desert at the time, no development around. By March of 2004, at least 5 of the victims were missing. That is when this satellite image was taken. This image is much clearer than the previous, and in it we can see the same new desert path, and we can see several small areas of disturbed dirt, pointed out by the 2 arrows. Now, we'll go ahead and jump to 2009. Within a month of the discovery of the remains, it is the same area but bulldozed. This satellite image is 7 months after the discovery and excavation of all the remains. Although the police have not named any suspects, a KRQE News 13 investigation found the following.
A News 13 special assignment report shed light on the suspect list, including a frequent John with a violent history toward women who met his fate by a pimp's bullet, and a notorious rapist now doing 36 years of hard time. Hundreds of tips, 0 arrests.
While some believe the killer is one of the two previously mentioned suspects, some believe he simply moved his dumping locations once the residential developments began encroaching on his original site. To this day, there have been 0 arrests in the case.
This morning, there are fears that a possible serial killer is on the loose and will strike again. The search for human remains continues this morning on Long Island after 3 more bodies were found Monday.
It's May of 2010 in Long Island, New York, when Suffolk County Police were searching for Shanann Gilbert, a 24-year-old woman working as an escort who had gone missing. This would eventually lead to the following discovery.
A 10th body now discovered as police widen their search for human remains linked to a serial killer on Long Island, New York. Right now, there are no suspects and residents are on the edge.
Of the 10 bodies that were discovered, many were found dumped in burlap sacks scattered throughout the Oak Beach, Gilgo Beach area. The oldest body discovered had gone missing in the mid-90s. Though they had been looking for Shanann Gilbert, she would be the last one found nearly a year and a half later.
Police found the apparent remains of a New Jersey prostitute who disappeared now a year and a half ago.
The search for that woman has led to the discovery of 10 other bodies. 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty has been following this case closely. She joins us. Erin, good morning.
Well, we have more pieces of the puzzle. Late last year, police searching for her stumbled instead upon the bodies of 4 other women. More searches led to more bodies, 10 in all.
The media has speculated about the profile of the killer. According to the New York Times, it is most likely a white male in his mid-20s to mid-40s who is very familiar with the South Shore of Long Island and has access to the burlap sacks previously mentioned. He may have a detailed knowledge of law enforcement techniques and perhaps ties to law enforcement, which have thus far helped him avoid detection. Some believe this could have been more than one killer, perhaps dumping in the same general location due to the secluded area. At one point, the Long Island serial killer had called one of the victim's sisters using the victim's cell phone, taunting her and the police to find him. So the Long Island serial killer is certainly still out there, somewhere. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next Ghastly Features video.